He lost his home in a bitter divorce, so he bulldozed it to the ground. But now James Koser could spend the rest of his life in jail. We'll tell you why on American Journal.
When this man's wife got possession of his house, he huffed and he puffed and he bulldozed the house down.
Why did you bulldoze that house?
Well, because she got it in a divorce, and she got the house and I got the shack.
He went to jail for 3 months. Today, find out why he stayed for 10 years.
James Koser was once a family man with 2 children and a lovely home. He was in business for himself and made a good living, but his life started to unravel. He went to jail for 3 months. That was 10 years ago, and he has never been released. As Lauren Terry reports, it's not what Koser has done that has kept him behind bars. It's what he says.
This is James Koser before his troubles began. He married and became a father and watched his family grow in the Seattle suburb of Everett, Washington. For fun, he raced stock cars in his spare time. And for money, he worked the lucrative Alaskan pipeline. He seemed like a regular guy. But then 14 years ago, James Koser commandeered a bulldozer one night and did the unthinkable.
Well, I bulldozed that house over.
Why did you bulldoze that house?
Well, because she got it in a divorce, and she got the house and I got the shack, basically.
In 1979, Koser's ex-wife got the $200,000 house in the divorce settlement. The bulldozer was his act of revenge. Snohomish County Sheriff's Deputy Ken Christensen couldn't believe what he saw that night, or Koser's attitude.
He was very pointedly happy about what he had done to his ex-wife's house. No remorse, laughed.
Koser was arrested and convicted of malicious mischief. Then in 1984, he tried a repeat performance of his bulldozer act. This time, his target was the home of an ex-girlfriend. But this time, he was stopped before he did any damage.
I'm the original Taurus of bull. In fact, that's when my birthday is, May. I'm the original one.
Still, Koser has folks in his corner.
He's got the biggest heart and the warmest heart, and he does the best artwork I've ever seen, and very generous to a fault.
Violet Simonson is Koser's niece. She says her Uncle Jim is just a really good guy with a really bad mouth.
He's a stubborn guy. He's a strong-headed guy. Is he a bad guy?
Not at all. His personality reminds him a lot of a woods guy, a backwoods guy. There's right and there's wrong and there's nothing in between. Sometimes his temper gets the better of him because of his stubbornness. When he gets that stubborn, I don't argue with him because arguing doesn't do any good.
The Washington State prison system certainly agrees that Koser has a temper. It was because of that temper that they put him behind bars. Now, had he simply served his time quietly, Koser could have been paroled within months. But he couldn't control his terrible temper.
When I bull up, I get real mad, you know. I'm not mad, but not physically mad, but I just bull up.
Getting mad has landed Koser in trouble time and again. What should have been a minor jail term of a few months has stretched out to more than 10 years, all because Koser can't keep his mouth shut.
And they decide, well, Mr. Koser's got an anger management problem.
An anger management problem may be an understatement. Officials say that over the years, Koser has made death threats, hundreds of them.
I said, and I'm going to kill you, I said, but before I do, I said, you're going to be down on your hands and knees begging me to kill you.
Every time in the past decade that Koser came up for parole, those threats came back to haunt him. And every time, his parole was denied. So Koser seems to really have it in for parole board members George Johnson and Kit Bale.
Do you want to kill Johnson and Bale on the parole board?
Sure, I'd kill them both in the Tennessee second. I could kill them and not even bat an eye.
Kit Bale takes Koser's threats so seriously, she won't show her face on camera.
Well, he's threatened to kill you.
Yes, he has. Most of us who have had contact, written or personal, with Mr. Koser tend to believe that, unlike other angry people, he is capable of carrying his threats out.
Bale isn't the only one who believes Koser will try his best to make good on his threats. She and 37 others are on a hit list Koser made up, a list the state prison has copied and kept.
Is this in fact a hit list?
Not a hit list, but you're on my list. You know, I'm going to get you.
The Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office has spent countless hours over the years trying to keep Koser off the streets.
Threats in the criminal justice system are common, and again, most are ignored, but we have chosen not to ignore these threats.
Prosecutor Jim Townsend will try Koser on felony harassment charges next month. He's betting he can convict him and extend his jail term well into the 21st century. And so the man who bulldozed his way into jail and could have been out in 90 days stays in with few regrets.
Are you resigned to living the rest of your years in the joint? Was it worth it?
On principle, it was, yeah.
You got in here because 14 years ago you bulldozed your ex-wife's home.
Right.
Now you're in here going on 14 years. You're probably going to spend the rest of your life in jail.
In prison.
Are you okay with this? Was it worth it?
I wish now that the guy hadn't left the keys in the bulldozer.
Now, family members told us that the James Koser we saw today isn't the James Koser they knew 14 years ago. They claim prison has made him bitter and angry. Next month, if he is found guilty of felony harassment, Koser could get several more years in prison.